All of the 4 agencies in this project are so important to our community and the people in need. The Crisis Center, the Free Lunch Program, the Domestic Violence Intervention Program, and the National Alliance on Mental Illness all provide services that people in our community need. And the really unique aspect of this project is that it brings those 4 agencies close together, and they can provide shared programming.
It's been about 2 years. The Johnson County Fair, I saw Rod Sullivan, who I asked him what was going on with the building next door, and he told me that they were about ready to do a sealed bid. So I think it was the next week or a couple weeks later that after I'd spoken to the board, and we decided to explore the purchase of the building. And we asked the Board of Supervisors to give us some time to do that. And they were the first ones to talk about possibly giving the building to the group. Now, before that, I'm an agency director, obviously with Crisis Center being an agency partner to the United Way of Johnson and Washington counties, that I knew of certain agencies' need for additional space. The capital campaign actually didn't come from the very beginning. Some of us thought maybe we might be able to do this more modestly, but the building as it is needed a lot of work. So it's going to end up costing around 1.2, 1.3 million when it's all said and done.
Right now in the Crisis Center, our biggest constraint is space. We utilize it seems like every space has 2 or 3 functions. We have many staff who are doubled up in offices, and our multi-purpose room is our meeting space, it's our support group space, it's where we prepare mailings, it's, it turns into a workroom. Our multi-purpose room is right inside our front door, and so during a suicide survivors group, for instance, we could have a walk-in client for the crisis intervention program, and they walk right into that support group. Or we could have volunteers who need to use the restroom who need to walk through that group, and so there's just no privacy in our current facility.
NAMI's focus is education for people living with a mental illness and education for their families. It will just be easier for us all the way around to hold our classes. Right now our classes are held in places that around town, churches or office conference rooms, wherever we can find space. But with the 1105 project, all of our classes, meetings, board meetings, group meetings, support group meetings can all be held at that one place. We will probably at least double our space for NAMI, but more important, the functionality of the space will be much better than what we have now. The way that the offices are lined up, the way that we have open workspace, what we will be able to offer people to come in and just use our materials will be much more user-friendly than what we've been able to offer here.
All of our services at this point have been centered out of our shelter location, which is at a confidential location. It's a location we don't advertise, and it's a safe house, and we house generally as many as 350 women and children a year in that location. And to protect their confidentiality, we try to bring as few people as possible to that location. And so we've been working with mobile offices for some time, but with our expansion and growth, it's really important to have a separate space and a safe space for outreach, individuals in the community who are not needing safe shelter but still need advocacy resources to come to. And so 1105 is really providing us a great opportunity to expand that support.
Our volunteers, many of us are older, so having to negotiate stairs is a really tricky operation, especially many of us are carrying heavy boxes of food and recycling and so forth. And parking, especially in the winter, having to park a long ways away and negotiate, icy and snowy sidewalks to get back to the building to volunteer. is very difficult for many of our volunteers, but it's also very difficult for our clients. At 1105, we've worked with the kitchen designer and the person who's in charge of the building committee, and there will be a window through which the diners put their dirty dishes, and then they'll just move along a counter to the dish sanitizer, and it will be very streamlined and much easier. We'll have a lot more pantry space, which will be a huge boon for us. And a very big thing is that we will have a walk-in cooler and freezer, so that we will, it'll make it so much easier for our volunteers and for us to accept larger donations of frozen things, for instance, which we can't really do now.
Another important space in the 1105 project is a large meeting space where we can host our board meetings and small trainings and things like that. In a typical building, that room would sit empty most of the day because we have board meetings once a month. We have smaller meetings, once or twice a month, staff meetings and things of that nature. And with all 4 agencies utilizing that space, then it's a much more functional space. In addition, the way that it's located in the building, we can also use it to support free lunch program participants through offering medical care clinics or mental health screenings or things like that. So that every space in the building is going to be used all day, every day. And that, I think, is really one of the critical pieces of the 1105 project, is that there's been a lot of thought and effort put into making every space useful to the community, and not just a big empty boardroom with a nice table and chairs.
The kitchen, which is being designed as a commercial grade kitchen, will be available to local foods producers, so they can come in and process their produce, their tomatoes, their jams and jellies. We look forward to making this a multi-use facility for our agencies, our clients, and for others in the community and in the county. So we want to make it as well used as possible for the advantage of as many as possible.
The free lunch program is really desperately in need of space. They're going to be losing their space come December, and that's a program that's absolutely critical. The women and children and men that we work with at DVIP have used free lunch program for years to supplement the resources that they're trying to create for themselves. And so for us, having NAMI right there, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, to be an additional resource for support groups and activities, just the collaboration is just really incredibly powerful. We've worked very, very hard to come up with resources that diminish overhead expenses, that diminish the duplication of resources, that really look at how we work together to create a process that's much more accessible to individuals who need our resources, and really cut down the barriers for them of having to try and get to 3 or 4 different places.
The 4 agencies that are using this space are all interrelated in the things that we offer people. We're hoping that we can offer support groups to the people that use the free lunch program, those that are living with a mental illness, that we may be able to start support groups before and after lunch to have them find support and care in other ways besides meals. And same with the domestic violence intervention program. We're hoping to partner with them more in providing our classes for the people that use their services. And of course, we work very closely with Crisis Center also, with suicide prevention and other ways to help families and members or people living with a mental illness.
Working together, we can increase what we're offering, increase opportunities to provide education to the community, really raise awareness. Working together, we already do that a great deal, but being in the same space and being able to just walk into the office next door and say, hey, let's work on this, creates all kinds of really wonderful opportunities. Being able to collaborate around our clients from all these different perspectives means that we may discover new ways to meet needs that are more efficient, cost less, and do a better job of helping our clients really move forward in their lives. It's the kind of innovation that Johnson County needs.
We're still actively engaged in our capital campaign, and We are still looking at raising about $700,000 to $800,000 yet for the building to finish the interior. We've got some exterior work to do yet.
The community, I think, should be very excited about this prospect. There hasn't been a collaboration like this of agencies in this community where, we're, as they say, working not only harder but smarter, where we're sharing our facilities, sharing our operational costs, where we're collaborating so that we can be of greater benefit to our clients, providing them more help more easily. And so if I were an investor in this project, which I am, I am very proud to support this innovative and very productive venture that will have benefits in so many ways for the agencies, for the clients, for the county and the community as a whole.
I'm just so hopeful that the community will continue to support this, both in their word of mouth for letting people know about our programs, but also financially, which is very key. We really still need a great deal of financial support to make this happen.
The 1105 project offers the kind of innovation that we know nonprofits need to pursue to remain viable and sustainable for the future. Without these kinds of collaborations, without reducing some of our very basic costs, such as to be able to train all our volunteers in one space, or not having to have 4 copiers when we could have 1 copier. We can't even begin to imagine yet what the opportunities are going to be like. Being together is going to be really a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for us.